because you just talk about your life growing up. Obviously, you're gonna have to go through things that like straight people won't go through. Anything that you can think of, maybe it was harder for you, like when you were smaller. I don't know.
For me, growing up, it didn't really affect my life too much because I didn't really know myself, or either way, I was very like straight passing, I guess. So it didn't really affect my day to day life like that. There was not many instances where like anyone really thought I was gay and something went wrong or anything like that. Because as I said, I was straight passing, I guess,
Yeah.
the real term that I can use, but nothing really happened.
Okay. When you actually found out that you liked girls, were there any times when it was like a little bit like you went through anything that was hard or
I mean, well, I did have this girlfriend that wanted to basically keep it a secret. So I guess that was the only instance I went through.
uh,
Crazy. Can that be included or like are you gonna cut that
let's
out?
move on.
What?
Let's move on. Next question. Yeah, that's true. That is a little bit obviously like if you were the guy, you probably wouldn't have had to hide it. Uh, did you ever feel pressed for your sexuality?
Again, no,
Mhm.
because I mean, I wasn't outwardly like doing anything that would like, I guess, for society standards be gay, I guess, like actually do anything that made people realize. So there was not really much that I could say really came from me being gay that people like oppressed me for. Like I was being oppressed for, I guess. That
No,
makes sense.
no, no, yeah, me too. Like, cause like
Yeah,
yes, we could be straight passing,
exactly.
and when you're on the street walking, like if you don't have like a girlfriend
Yeah,
or
I'm not gonna get like hate crimes for
not
like,
for that.
well, actually,
Well,
okay, wait, you can cut that cut that part
we'll
out.
see.
Because I won't be
Not for
hate
that.
crime for being gay, but
Okay, good
just
for
for being black. So
you. Yeah. What makes you feel safe right now? So like I'll give you an example. For me, what makes me feel safe is that I know that being part of the LGBT, it's way more accepting now, and that there's resources everywhere, and that if let's say I ever feel lonely or whatever, I can always go online and like I can go on Twitter, Tumblr, whatever, YouTube, and like there's gonna be a community of people, and so that makes me feel safe.
oh,
What about you?
for me, I guess like as you said, like I mean, I feel safe in majority of spaces. Like I could feel safe, like you said, Twitter, Tumblr. These are all spaces where or apps that most like straight and gay people use. But there's communities within them that like you can create friends and everything like that. And then of course, like within my friend group, we're majority LGBT anyway,
Yeah.
so it's safe. It's a safe like space.
Is there anywhere where you don't feel safe, or any instance when you wouldn't feel safe?
There are unsafe spaces, but it's not necessarily because I'm gay. It's more so because before being gay, I'm a black woman. So stepping into spaces that are uncomfortable would be where you feel that you might get like hate crimes or something like that. That's more of when I would feel unsafe.
What do you expect from like LGBT allies? What do you expect from them?
Allies. So I would expect them to always like speak out and like stand up for any member of the LGBT plus community because of course it's more accepting now, but there's still a lot of places where it's not accepted. There's people that get kicked out from their homes and stuff like that. Like this is still something that happens on the daily, whether you know it or not. So if in any way possible to make like their lives just a little bit easier, just standing up for them in certain situations if they're being harassed or anything like that.
Mhm.
Or it doesn't have to be this extreme, but if they do get kicked out, maybe if you have space, you can let them stay there for a while or something like that. It doesn't have to be that extreme, or maybe you could just help them out to a shelter, anything along those lines. And of course, there's other things like the words that you say and how you say them, because uh let's say pronouns, it's like a big issue, well not a big issue but it's an issue
Yeah.
that people face, and some people don't really care about it even though they have their own pronouns. They think pronouns are stupid even though everyone
Has
has pronouns, like everyone. So I
yeah.
feel like they should mind what they say, and it does not it takes zero effort to either say a name correctly or use the right pronouns. And then on top of it, not only just small stuff like that, but bigger things like the issue of the black transgender women that were like, I think they were either coming from a club or something, um and it was like earlier during quarantine, where they literally were being harassed and called from men on the street and stuff like that. Like, that's truly unacceptable. They were literally recording and doing awful things like that, and like
Mm.
calling them slurs and everything. Like, things like that shouldn't be able to happen, where no everyone is just a bystander, basically.
Yeah,
Like, no one reached out and no one helped and did anything
I think.
until,
Yeah.
I mean, even then, like, until it took like going viral on, like, let's say Twitter, Instagram, for people to like call like, there needs to be justice for stuff like this. Like, that's when people took it seriously. But in the moment, you can do something to change it, and people don't even think about that. They just record and like move on, or they just want to be someone just standing there in the background saying like they weren't participating, but you were just watching, like you weren't helping either. So it's like part of the problem as well.
Yeah, they thought
So
that because
yeah.
they weren't actively like saying anything, they were like part of the good side, I guess. Or
Oh yeah, exactly. And also, when I was talking about like watching what people say, like there's also, let's say, a community of people that, like, let's say, like to play games, and they love to use the excuse that, oh, this is just how video game people play, or like whatever. But when they're into a game so much, they use slurs like the F word, or like, oh, you're gay, as an insult for no reason, which it makes no sense. And this is something that, I guess, I don't know if older people use it, but like from videos I have seen, it's mostly like younger people, like ages like, let's say, 10 to like 14, because they're like young boys
oh,
most
like
of the time.
teenagers, like preteens, teenagers.
Yeah, exactly, preteens, that they say these words, and I'm like, where are your parents? Like, why aren't they helping, like teaching you, or are you just going off on your own just saying these things? So I feel like parents also play a big role, because if they're not an ally, they're not going to teach their children to be allies. So they're going to let them say whatever, and that's obviously not correct. So they should be like teaching them from when they're young to respect everyone, so majority of these problems wouldn't happen later on.
Yeah, exactly. Because then that turns into something else. At first, it's like
Yeah,
playing around in video games, but
yeah, until it
they know
comes
it's a
turns into
negative.
like full-blown hatred and everything.
Exactly. Okay, that's good. I'll make sure to add that somewhere.
Thank you for having me, Camila.
No
It was
problem.
nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you. Let me stop the
I
Hello, so that was my very short interview that I had with one of my friends that identifies as gay. It was nice getting the chance to interview her because I got to see sort of like her side of things, which are very different from my side of things. So, for example, when I would ask her about being oppressed or harassed or feeling unsafe anywhere, she had the same response as one I would have, which is that she doesn't, unless it is very evident that she is gay, such as if she's out with a girlfriend. But if she's by herself, she doesn't have that fear. But she has a different type of fear, which I don't have, which is the fear of being oppressed or harassed for her skin color. And so it was nice getting the chance to kind of like be reminded of that. Um, and then to think about the fact that, let's say, if I would have interviewed somebody that was, let's say, like the very typical flamboyant gay man, if I would have interviewed him, he would have had the fear of being oppressed for his sexuality. But then if I would have interviewed, for example, like a black transgender woman, she would have had the fear of being oppressed for her skin color, her sexuality, and her gender. So yeah, it was interesting kind of like being reminded of that. Also, fun fact, during the interview, she does mention how she had to hide her relationship from her parents. So she's actually my ex, and we were the ones that had to hide our relationship from our parents. And this was due to a fear that I think most straight people don't have, which is I had the fear that my parents were gonna be disappointed, or they were gonna like hate me, or they weren't gonna accept me, or anything like that. And so we had to hide it, which is tough because, you know, you were lying to your parents. You can't, me and her, like, we couldn't really speak to our moms about, I don't know, people we liked, or we couldn't get advice and stuff like that. So that, in that sense, that is an experience that we share and most people in the community share, at least ones that aren't out yet or they're scared to come out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.